Hello and welcome to Voices in Education. Host Natasha Lee. Hello. Hello and welcome. If you're just tuning in, welcome to another live. And this evening, we want to talk about Antonio Watson's win, right? In that 400 meters final there in Budapest. And the lesson that we can take from this context regarding school discipline or regarding discipline in general. I am seeing Geneva Watson. Hello and welcome, Geneva. Is this your family member, Antonio Watson? Let me know in the live chat. Please remember to give this video a like, share with friends and family members, and come over, man. Come over. Let us talk. Let us chat. Let us talk about this that has happened in our Jamaican context and what we have witnessed today in Budapest. So come on, come over, bring your family members and come. Let us talk. Let us have a meds about this one. It is important for us to have this conversation. Geneva, I see you laughing. Tell me now, man, we're talking about Antonio Watson, and you're here in the live chat. So something must be going on there. From one Watson to the other Watson. How are you feeling about this win, Geneva? So I'd love to hear. And we're also going to have this conversation going on where you can call in and share. So let me just transition to that slide where you'll see the WhatsApp number there to call. I am not able to do that just yet. All right, should be now. right? So you'll see that on screen shortly. And so we want to talk about Antonio, right? In the context of coming from zero to hero. And you should be seeing that WhatsApp number on your screen. So I would love to hear from you as it relates to this conversation. And we need to understand this context. So just to share a little bit about Antonio's context, right? I believe it was in 2021 at Champs, and he won the 200 meters final. And he was, I guess, in that race, he was chasing another competitor from Edwin Allen, and eventually he won that race. I don't believe I can say the word, but you can see the photo there on screen. He did that G salute, and I think he did it not just once, but according to what was there in the media, as far as I can recall, it was as if he reloaded and did that G salute again, right? And so what has happened and what I can remember was there were a lot of criticism, so a lot of talks, a lot of chats, across, Jamaica social media. And pretty much what those conversations, those talks were really to cancel this young man, right? Cancel this young man, punish this youth, punish this youth. Anne Marie Brown Walters, welcome, welcome, welcome. Carlos, big up yourself, top boss. No, you're not the top boss, you're the oxtail boss. But you're still top enough, you're the top shelf, right? That's you, top shelf boss. Welcome. And guys, please remember to give this video a like, just share on your statuses, share, and let's just have this reasoning, all right? So I want to level this thing out this evening. And so I want you to understand, and this is why I am connecting this with discipline, for us to get an understanding of, the reasons that we should move away from punishment, punitive measures, to more positive, consequences, right? That can teach us, to learn from our mistakes. So that is where we're heading this evening with this. And I hope that you're able to call. The number there is on screen. I would love to hear from you. Make we just whole a little reasoning about this one. And so, as I was saying, that happened, as you can see on screen, that G salute happened there at Champs, I believe in 2021. And pretty much, it was as if we wanted to cancel this young man. I believe he was attending Petersfield High School at the time, right? And so this happened. And a lot of people decided that, he should pay for it. So you would see across social media, he should be stripped of his medal, that kind of conversation. So now, today, from 2021, now to today in Budapest, this young man, the same young man who was doing that G salute, is the same young man from zero who is now an hero based on the fact that he won this 400 meters final in Budapest. All right, so let's look at this context. What if we had totally canceled? What if we had canceled this young man? Would we be getting this result today? What if we so-called discipline this youth, right? For that G salute at Champs, to say, all right, listen, you did this, no sponsorship, no coaching staff, your school should suspend you or expel you, those kind of things. What if we did that? And these are the things or the reasons we need to consider shifting from punitive to more positive or logical consequences. It is important, right? Because the reality is, it could be a situation where we decided to cancel to punish this young man at that time severely, right? Because of, I guess, he was overcome by, I guess, emotions, excitement, and, and in a celebratory gesture, he decided to do the G salute. What if we had canceled, this young man, punished him so severely that that moment or that action, whatever the actions were, if those actions were taken to that degree, would we be getting this result today? Because this is the thing with punitive, and this, you can just tie it to something like a suspension or an expulsion, where you push students away from a school, for example. They go back into the communities. So they go back into some inner city communities, for example, where there are high levels of crime and violence. Parents are not able to be there to take care of them because parents are working. And then you leave them to those elements. And if it is a case where they're at school, we're not saying that we're supposed to accept, so-called, in quotation, bad behavior. But what I'm saying is that there is a better way for us to deal with these contexts without canceling or severely punishing. And punishment now is not just physical, like corporal punishment. So when you get the whap, 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 across your back, across your face, it's also those suspensions, expulsions, right? And so what we need to understand is that we are putting our children, our students at a disadvantage. We are affecting them. Our actions are affecting them severely or can affect them severely, right? And so we need to consider these implications of our actions when we so-called decide to take these drastic and punitive measures, right? And so for us, it is important to think about ways to move on. So in this context, I share with you to say, discipline was meant to teach. Discipline should teach, not punish, right? Let's go back to that. When you claim that you're going to discipline a child or a student, it should teach that student or child, meaning that child should learn from the so-called negative behavior, right? But oftentimes we think that going punitive, so if you go whop, whop, right? This child understand that, okay, you should not do it again. No, the child might understand that, this thing is serious because I get whop, whop. But the child does not really understand, why I should not do it. They might not see the consequences or the effects of their behavior. And so we want to create these teachable moments now where we're able to help kids, help students to move away from those negative behaviors. And for the persons here this evening on this live, just think of a time or reflect on a time that you were punished by your parent or, given whatever it was for that punishment. Have you ever repeated that behavior where you got another punishment? Whop, whop. Oh, you little boy, you not have no manners. Whop, whop. Another day, you little boy, you not have no manners. Whop, whop. And so we're not saying that you should not discipline your child, but we're saying there's a way that we want to do it. We want to move to some consequences, right? Where children, students are learning from those behaviors. Because sometimes we drive students or our kids along the wrong path because we're teaching them, for example, that wap wap is the way to go. So if you believe that somebody violates, wap wap with the strap, wap wap, is that the right way? And I know we often talk about, sparing the rod and spoiling the child, but let me tell you, we need to move away from that, and we need to understand the research, what is happening in our society, and just try to find a way to unlearn those beliefs that we have about discipline in terms of sparing rather than spoiling child. We need to unlearn those things because those things have affected our kids in some way. And you'll have the statement to, oh, we did get whoppings and I turned out just fine. Why are you talking about it? You get whoppings. That is something that you're remembering. Was it nice? Was it a nice experience? Do we need to traumatize our kids, our students, all in the name of discipline? I don't think so. So let's go back to Antonio in this context, right? So if Antonio was punished so severely where, okay, this youth, because that G salute that you're seeing on screen there, right? People were saying, oh, the JCF need to come and probably look at this because they must be doing this in real life. I cannot speak to that, but I am just showing you the extreme to which, social media was blazing up. And I believe and I stand corrected here, in 2022, I believe, at Champs, I believe a student from a high school in Kingston did something similar. And the title sponsor, I believe, the title sponsor, so this, top man from that sponsorship, were probably saying something on the line like, we can consider pulling our sponsorship. And I'm saying to myself, Jamaica, if it is as sponsors, you see the need to provide that financial support so that our youth can have these championships, right? If it is that you're going to pull away and say champs can be no more, do you think about the effects that can have on our society? Is that the way to go in terms of being punitive, in terms of just thinking about solutions that are just punitive based punishments? So what I'm saying, this sponsorship decides to pull away, right, from champs. And champs there will be no more champs because we can't secure a sponsorship for that. What will happen to the hundreds of students who usually perform at champs? Look at the ripple effect. No champs, you won't have these sporting programs probably in schools. So students who would be meaningfully engaged in a sporting program is probably now on the street. So, and they say the devil find work for idle hands. So do we think about those implications where some students, they might not be so academically inclined, strong academically, but they're more, sports-based and they're able to have great success in that field? Why would we want to do that? So this is what I am saying. Not saying that there isn't a better way. So where are the education programs, right? To say, okay, your behavior is important in terms of how you're going to, whatever behavior you're going to display. And so There's a way that we want to, you understand, put forward or represent ourselves and try to be as professional as best as possible. And also bear in mind that we're talking about kids, children. And so we have to provide that support. We have to provide that support, right? So when we see someone who is in need in terms of behavior, we want to support them. We should not be thinking about canceling them. And so that is important. That is an important consideration in terms of moving forward. So now Antonio has moved from 0, right? Okay, 0. We should cancel you, 0, 0. To know the hero, right? By way of this 400 meters finals. He won it. And so what this is definitely teaching us a valuable lesson about discipline. Discipline should not punish. Discipline should teach us. We should see mistakes as learning opportunities. Mistakes, right, should become teachable moments. Let us learn from our mistakes. Let us try to help our students, our children, to learn from their mistakes. We don't need to be whop whop. And then tell me something, listeners, viewers. How many of us or you, when you're singing the Jamaican anthem, you're like, Jamaica, boom. Right? Isn't that a G salute? And when you're in the party and you hear your favorite song or a song where you really rate, suppose you hear like a Valiant. Is it Valiant? I'm always mixing up his name in terms of the pronunciation. A Valiant now come out. Mad me or mad out. Aren't you going to bust a blank? Or Dung Check, or, you know, one of your favorite party songs. You want to bust a blank. But why is it this gesture from a youth, right, a student at the time, required such, you know, punitive measure? You wanted to strip him of the medal. Like, why did that? Why was the need for that? And so in this context, I cannot emphasize how much we need to, as a people, unlearn and try to move from this punitive based way of so-called correcting behaviors. We need to move away from that. Because if we had canceled Antonio then, we would not have Antonio now winning this gold medal. So you see how important that is? If you're just tuning in, welcome to another exciting conversation here on the Voices in Education. If this is your first time here, welcome. This is a safe space where we can share and learn from each other. Please remember to just give this video a like. Let's just share this live. Let's just share some positivity. And so if you're just tuning in, we're having a conversation about Antonia Watson and that winning this 400 meters final there in Budapest teaches us a valuable lesson about discipline. And just to go back to give you some context, I believe back in 2021, Antonio won that 200 meters at Champs, and he did that G salute. I don't want to say the G word here on the live. He did that G salute, and you can see from the picture there on your screen. And there were a lot of talks as it relates to canceling this young man, right? To punishing him. And so the big question is, if we had punished him so severely in terms of or canceled him, right? Would he have won this gold medal today? And so what I am saying here is that we need to transition from punitive-based ways or methods for so-called correcting behaviors to more positive approaches where we can support our kids, our children, right? We need to understand that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. Discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. So we need to try and dismiss those punitive, those punishment, those so-called whop whop. You get a belt and you start whop whop, or you decide, okay, no, let us strip him of his gold medal, like in Antonio's case. He should not be doing that. We need to get the police involved. This look as if he's going to, bop, bop, bop. And what we're saying, what if we cancel this young man? Is it that we want to send him on a negative path? We see that he's doing well in sports, he's doing well in tracks, right? So instead of supporting him, we want to cancel him. And so this evening, I am saying to us as a nation, to us as a people, if it is that we want to move forward, we need to unlearn. We need to unlearn these practices. We need to unlearn these practices. It's okay to unlearn and relearn. I was there too, where I felt that, punitive was the way to go. And I came to the realization based on my research that this is not okay. This is not okay. So Jamaica, persons who are here listening, please give this video a like. Let's make this go viral. We want something that is positive to go viral, because this is important for us to understand, right? That punitive measures are merely destroying our future. There's so much detrimental effects. And it's not just the beating, the corporal punishment. It's when your child or a student is at school and the teacher or the principal decide that they're going to suspend the student. When you suspend a child and you send a child back, for example, in an inner city community, what kind of support is that child going to get there? And so that is important for us to consider as well. We need to consider that. We need to understand that punitive, it just gives us a little break. For example, if you're a parent or a teacher, to say, okay, if you suspend this child is not in my class today, I can have a good class, perhaps, but does it fix the problem? Does it address the root cause of the problem? And no, because we need to find out what is driving that behavior. Because usually your behavior is purposeful. So every behavior is purposeful. So if you have a child acting out, we need to find out, why is this child acting out? So if we have Antonio celebrating via G salute, okay, Antonio, I understand that you're excited. I understand that you just won this race, but this might not be the most appropriate way for you to celebrate. And you explain why, right? You explain the reasons why. So Antonia can get a better understanding why this behavior is not appropriate. But what? We just want to cancel him just like that. We just want to punish him. So when you punish Antonio now, you punish Antonio. All right, Antonio, you're not going to get any title sponsor. You can't run at Tramps again. You can't represent Jamaica because Jamaica is not for this. How do you help Antonio? What are you doing for Antonio? What you are going to do is to push Antonio further. Where if Antonio so-called decide, okay, you know what? I'm going to join this gang. Or, you know what? School does not want me anymore. I'm going to do this. What are you doing? And this is what we need to understand too as parents and educators. We have a role to play in the lives of our children. And it is important for us to understand how detrimental punishment can be, how detrimental punishment can be as it relates to so-called disciplining our kids. If you're just tuning in, welcome to this safe space. Welcome to Voices in Education. This is a safe space where we share and learn together. And this evening, we're having a conversation about Antonio Watson's win and the valuable lesson this win is teaching us about discipline. And so, in that context, discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. If this is your first time here, welcome. Please comment in the live chat. I would love to give you a Voices in Education welcome. Please hit that subscription button as well. Voices in Education as a goal to continue to support students. So every view, like, comment, share, subscription will definitely help Voices in Education to continue supporting students. So if this is your first time here, please don't be afraid to hit that subscription button. Remember, you can bank on it. Yes, you can put 1,000,000 subscribers on it. And this is a safe space. Remember to just give this video a like, comment in the live chat. I am seeing trending sports and entertainment. Welcome. Welcome to this conversation. Don't be afraid to comment in the live chat. Let us keep this conversation going. And I am seeing Shane, welcome, saying congratulations. Definitely congratulations to this young man and to all the other athletes there doing very well in Budapest. Somebody said to me the other day, it's not Budapest, it's Budapest. And so, again, you can call in to just share and be a part of this conversation. We're talking about, Antonia's win as it relates to teaching us a valuable lesson about discipline. And so Antonia's 400-meter win teaches us a valuable lesson about discipline. So Shane, welcome to Voices in Education. Please remember to hit that subscription button as well. Please like, guys, please share this out and let us share some positivity. Let us share, about the importance for us to shift or transition from utilizing punitive measures, punishment, to positive approaches. And I'm seeing Vivia. Welcome, and yes, congratulations indeed. Definitely, Vivia, welcome. And so with Antonia's win this evening, we're just here talking about, the possible effects if we had canceled this young man back in 2021 when he did the G salute at Champs. And so if you are not aware of this context, so what had happened then was, I believe it was in the 200 meters final there at Champs in 2021 that he chased, I believe it was an Edwin Allen competitor. He won that race and he celebrated doing that G salute that you can see on screen there. And that caused a lot of criticisms that were against him. I mean, you had some people who were definitely supporting him. I can recall like Oral Tracy was out, supporting this young man. But a lot of people, when you look across social media, was pretty much wanting to cancel this young man, this student at the time. And so the big question is, what if we had canceled Antonio Watson then? Would we have gotten the goal today in Budapest? So right now, we're from zero to a hero. And so I would love to hear from you. Don't be afraid to comment and share in the live chat. I would love to hear from you. as it relates to the lesson that we should take away from this as it relates to school discipline in general, discipline at home, discipline at school. We need to understand the need to switch from punitive discipline to more positive discipline, where we're supporting students, children, based on the behavior that we are deeming inappropriate, and that is important. And so, in terms of that context, we need to understand that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. And so in Antonia's case, if it is that we had canceled him back in 2021, what are the possible pathways that he could have gone on as opposed to continuing in track and field? And so what we want to understand from this conversation, and the lesson that we need to get from this, is that we need to use this as a way for us to reflect on our practices as it relates to discipline, as parents, as guardians, as educators. We need to understand our role, because we can make them or break them, and that is important. When we think about inappropriate behaviors that we deem inappropriate, those behaviors, they're communicating something to us. And it is for us as parents and adults or guardians and teachers, educators, to figure out or to find the root cause that is driving that behavior. So again, every behavior is purposeful. Every behavior is purposeful. And so we need to find out what is driving this behavior. Is this behavior revenge seeking, power seeking, attention seeking? We need to figure out what is happening for us to address the root cause of the problem, right? And so we need to do that. And sometimes the way we want to, or the way we tend to address the behaviors, does not fix the problem, right? Does not fix the problem. So we have a student who is coming late to school, and you decide that, okay, if you come late, you're not going to come through the gate. Why are you shutting the student out? You're shutting the student out to probably go back to a community or to go back to a home where they're experiencing trauma. And so for some students, for many students, schools are their safe haven. Schools are where they find the most comfort. And when you're going to shut them out, probably the student could not get a taxi to come to school. And when I refer to taxi, if you're listening from North America, we're referring to a route taxi in a Jamaican context. Probably the student could not get that to come to school, right? And so this student is just trying to reach the school to see what else. All right, I missed the first period, probably I can learn something from the second one and for the rest of the day. But you decide to shut that student out of school. How does that fix the problem that the student could not get a taxi in the first place? So when you punish that student punitively, does that fix the problem? Will the student get a taxi early tomorrow if the taxis are just not available? So we need to consider those contexts when we're talking about discipline. We need to understand that sometimes too, we are causing more problems, more trauma, more negative effects than anything positive. We're not fixing the solution. We're not fixing the problem. We're not finding a solution for the problem. And so we need to understand those contexts. Again, discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. Discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. So if it is that We really want our students to self-actualize. We want them to really succeed. We want to prepare them for the future. We need to ensure that mistakes are learning opportunities. That's how they're going to grow. We need to create those teachable moments. We need to do that. And as someone who is probably going to reflect and try to shift, it's not going to be easy. But as the adult, you have to be disciplined enough in the sense where you understand what it means to discipline a child. Too often we abuse our kids physically, emotionally, we abuse them, and then we call that discipline. Or we say, okay, we cannot spare the rod enough and spoil no picnic. And we call that discipline. But is that fixing the problem? That is not fixing the problem. And let's just look at this scenario. Imagine you have a child, or you have a student, or as an educator or a teacher, you have a student in your class. And you claim that the student is not getting it. Oh, the student dunks, or the student is always, fidgeting. And you decide, okay, as a teacher, I'm getting your parents here because, parents go and deal with your business, deal with your little business. And as a parent, teacher tells you this child is always distracting, fidgeting, that kind. You get and like, Miss give me money, Miss send you come to school, I not listen to teacher, this is what I do. Have you ever paused or stopped to think that this child might have a problem, that this child cannot help themselves? We need to think that way. We need to start thinking that way. It can be a medical condition. And so we need to start thinking that way. And that could be the reason for those distracting behaviors. It's not that the child does not want to learn, but the child just cannot learn in this so-called restrictive learning environment. Maybe this child needs breaks, right? To ensure that this child can just go out. Maybe this child cannot function in a crowded classroom, a crowded space. And so this child might need one of those stress balls or something else to fidget with. We need to think about those contexts, as opposed to this child coming home and, okay, you're not listen to teacher, you're not learn, whap. We need to move away from that. We need to move away from that. We need to unlearn certain practices, and we need to relearn some important context approaches as it relates to discipline. Not everything that we see was meant to be so-called bad behavior. There is good in everyone. There is good in everyone. There is something good in everyone. And we need to understand that. We need to understand that. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone, every single body make mistake. So if you're here on the live and you have never made a mistake, let me know in the live chat. If you have never made a mistake in your entire life, let me know in the live chat. And so everyone makes mistakes. I believe we're getting a call. So I'm just going to go to some music to arrange for this caller to call in. So just stay tuned for me. I'm just getting a caller to join us on this live. Hello and welcome. If you're just tuning in, welcome to another live. If this is your first time here, please comment in the live chat. I would love to give you a big Voices in Education welcome. Please remember to give this video a like. Hit that subscription button as well. Remember, you can bank on it. Yes, let's put 1 million subscribers on it. Your investment, you are safe with Voices in Education. This is a safe space where we can share and learn from each other. Also, remember that every comment, view, like, subscription will help Voices in Education to continue to support students. So please go ahead and just interact here. Let's keep this conversation going. Right now, I have my co-host here. And Ruren, you're ready to share in on this conversation. Welcome to the conversation. Welcome to the chat.
Thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Yes, this is an momentous moment because I didn't expect this gold medal to be coming from Antonio Watson. But what a valuable lesson to learn about discipline from this whole situation. This young man expressed himself in the way that I guess he knew best. And, he was condemned by a lot of people. But, as the Jamaican saying would say, one of dead, no dash way.
Yeah.
He rose above that. And, he must be commended for his strength and just for his ability to bounce back from that situation.
You always drop some gems here, Definitely.
Oh boy, if you say so.
Definitely. I really like that point in terms of his resilience, because that is something, and I like that you brought that up. That is something that we should, talk about in that context, because during those moments, right, if he had not had like strong support, and I can recall like earlier today, I went back and I read an article, and it would appear as if is grown by grandparents. So okay, yes, and they were sharing and saying something along the line that he's not a violent kid. He was grown in the church and he's quiet, and so they were there to support him. And I know that there was an apology from Antonio then as well. And when you place this kind of pressure without even trying to support, to say, okay, as I was mentioning earlier, this is not the right way. I understand that you're excited and you want to celebrate, but this is not the right way. And there is a better way that we can celebrate, right? But we're not thinking about the impact that this so-called cancel culture or this so-called attempt to cancel this young man was having on him. And you raised that point beautifully.
Well, the good thing as we are discussing is that it didn't have that negative effect on him, or it might have had, but at least he was able to rise above that, and now he's rewarded for his hard work. He's still a young man, and I hope that situation taught him a lot of lessons, and how to present himself in the public eye, and just how to be a good athlete. Sometimes these are the situations that brings the best out of you, and I think that he has used that as something to propel him as it relates to
greatness and to further greatness. I'm seeing Maud. Welcome to the Voices in Education community, and I'm just going to read that comment. And I believe he can break the world record and the important discipline. And I guess he has the important discipline and hard work, or I guess he needs to work hard. And definitely, Ma, thank you so much for commenting. Thank you so much for coming over. Please remember to hit that subscription button so you do not, and turn your post notification on so you do not miss any of these exciting conversations.
Well, Maud, we need to make sure that we put a special mark on your comment here, because, if he breaks that world record,
I need to pin that.
Yeah, we need to come and say, "Boy, you saw it. You're some sort of prophet or something," because that's a good thing. But the way that this young man is running at age 21, I think,
I believe so.
21, he's poised for greatness, and I'm sure that's what you're seeing in him. He is really performing really well, and we wish him all the best. And just to highlight the fact that, how many persons would believe that this young man would bring Jamaica its first gold medal there in Budapest?
Well, he ran before Daniel.
It was Daniel that one. I think he
Yeah,
did.
no, I think it
It
was
was Daniel
Daniel
first.
first.
So, well,
I think it was Daniel first, but on the male side, I
on the
think.
male side, and probably he's the first male after Usain, maybe. Oh, probably Hanzo Parchment.
Parchment
Yeah,
that
he did
in the Olympics.
the Olympics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so but it was like what, 2 decades, 2 decades, 2 decades now. I think that since Jamaica won this event, it has been
been a long
quite a
time.
few
Yeah.
years. Yes, and so that's why I was saying that he's from coming from zero to hero. And again, we need to understand that discipline should teach, discipline should not punish, because if we had canceled Antonio then because of that G salute that you're seeing on screen, then probably, well, there wouldn't be an Antonio now winning this gold medal. And so that is important for us to understand in terms of, how we're viewing discipline. We need to unlearn some practices and relearn some things, not because certain things grow, we can't say, oh, me grew up in it and it never do me nothing. No.
Yeah. And as we're saying that this situation obviously didn't break him in the sense that he packed up his career or his love for track and field. He bounced back. But I'm thinking that it could be somebody else who is not as resilient as him.
Definitely.
And they could go under with this sort of, media publicity and all. So I'm thinking that, we have to be careful what we do. And yes, for one, I that's not something that you'd really want to support, that sort of behavior. But you have to move from that point. He did it, and what should we do next? How do we take care of
All right.
that?
I hear you there, but I want to bring this in. And I guess you know about context, not saying that, but just to say, you mentioned about the behavior that might not be something that we want to do. And I get your point, but not saying that this is something that I would do. But for example, in a Jamaican context where the national anthem is playing and you hear Jamaica, boom, what is that they're doing? It's the so-called G salute, And then you're in a party, and you hear your top song I play, and you want your bossa blanca, right? So and these are some of the same people who wanted to cancel this young man. So what kind of double standards are we, setting in that context? And
I understand your point. Yeah. But we have to be mindful that these guys are young people and they're so impressionable, and that's where you're coming from with your point, which the fact that music and all aspects of life comes into the school and is influencing the students at school. So probably that's why he did that as a way to celebrate his success. But I am happy that he has moved away from that. He has, I guess, learned from his situation. He has bounced back, and he is doing pretty well.
He's doing awesome. This is great stuff, and this is great stuff. And so again, I am always going to circle back to this discipline thing, and I feel that is so important. And this is something that I cannot overemphasize, because we need to understand that, discipline and how we choose to discipline students, how we choose to discipline our children can have detrimental effects for them. And so we want to transition. We want to move away from that punitive, from that punishment in terms of disciplining to a more, positive. Let us create some teachable moments. Let us allow our students, our children to learn from mistakes. And as I was saying before, Rurian joined, you might have a kid, you might have a child going to school and teacher complaining, Lord, distract everybody in my class. Lord, tappy pens upon the decks. Like, I cannot teach my class. And you as the parent going now like bullbuck and what they call it, bullbuck and dopey conqueror, ready to say, all right, you there, the teacher problem. After me, I spend every dollar to send you come to school, and you decide say, boy, I discipline, so real whoppings. Have you ever stopped to think that this child might be neurodivergent in the sense where this child might be autistic, like on the autism spectrum? This child have some needs, might be ADHD. We need to think about that. And this child cannot help himself, right? And so this child requires, further help, further support to learn, right? And we're there having our kids restricted in environment. And on top of that, we decide that we're going to punish them. And so we need to move away from that. We need to, it's okay. I moved, and it was a shift in terms of mindset, because this is what I was raised in. This is what I was born and raised in. Punitive, you do something wrong, some knock, and sometimes I get some kick down and box down, and we call that, discipline. That is abuse, child abuse, that is abuse. All type of abuse, and police must come for now. Seriously, those are some detrimental impact that those kinds of so-called disciplinary measures can definitely have on kids. And don't come and say, okay, me get me whoppings and me grow up and never do me nothing. The mere fact that you can talk about it, you felt something. It do you something. It do you something.
And well, you know, as I said, and as you have been saying all evening, if it's not correcting the behavior, then it's not worth using. So, many times we act without asking some questions. We don't ask the question, why? Why is this behavior being displayed? Why is this child acting in that particular way? And sometimes if we ask that question, then we can, add more to our schema as it relates to that particular issue. And we're better able to deal with it. Because oftentimes kids are not heard, behaviors are displayed and punishment comes, and that's it. The behavior comes again, punishment, but there's no change, because sometimes, as you alluded to earlier, the behavior is triggered by a particular need that is not being explored. And that need is saying that, help me. That's what the child is saying. So just think about it. When you are ill or sick, or you're hurt, you will have, if you're sick, you might have a runny nose, you might have a headache. If you're hurt, you might have a broken bone, some swelling or bruising. Those are indicators that something is happening to you and you need help. And sometimes when a child is having those sort of issues, then that's how they come out in terms of their behavior. Their behavior might be disruptive or something that we consider to be indiscipline. But we need to get to the root cause in order to treat it. And that's what we're saying as it relates to this situation. But, I'm so proud of this young man. He has done what many persons have set out to do and have not accomplished it. So he has done an awesome job. And this is a great feat for him. And I'm hoping that this will give people another perspective on him in terms of how they viewed him
Oh, definitely they have,
first.
because he's
I
an
know.
hero now.
And, I hope persons are looking into themselves as well and saying that maybe I was too harsh the way that I judged him based on his champ's behavior. And, I am proud of the progress that he has made. I'm proud of the type of man that he is now and that he is successful. So, we just have to support people like Antonio. We don't know if this is where his passion lies. You know that you have kids that are good at sports and academically. There are some students who are good at, academics and some only at sports. If it's a case where he's good at only sports, then it could have damaged his dreams forever.
If we had canceled him,
If he was
right?
cancelled or, he was, as they would say, thrown under the bus. But I'm
Oh,
happy that, what would be important or what would be interesting to find out is how he was treated at school after that behavior was displayed.
yeah, there were a lot of criticism, like, for example, they should strip him of the medal, that kind of thing. I guess, he's a school youth, persons were like, I guess, tagging the JCF to, check this out, like he must be a G-man, that kind of, I guess, thought there. And so it is important for us to understand, like, if we had punished him so severely, canceled him, what would that look like for him? And this is what we're saying, that as you mentioned, and I tell you, you come with your gems. Not everybody might be able to bounce back from
For
something
real.
like that, because social media can be so harsh and cruel,
Yeah.
cold.
Uh,
And so, some people cannot go through that psychologically.
Yes, that's true.
And we have to be careful. And I was talking about, I believe it was like 2022, another student did something similar at Champs. I believe from one of
The
those
prominent
prominent
school,
high schools there in
Kingston.
Kingston. And what happened? The title sponsor, the main person behind the sponsorship there, he was saying something along the line that, they could consider pulling away like their sponsorship because of, I guess, indiscipline. And you understand, their brand does not want to support that. I spoke a little bit about this earlier, but since you're here now, think about a context like that. I was putting it out there to the listeners and viewers. Think about a context like that where you have the title sponsor, right, pulling away.
Yeah.
And for example, Champs, or is it Issa? Issa that, yeah, Issa? Yeah, Interschool Secondary School. Yeah,
Okay.
Issa. They're not able to get another title
Sponsor.
sponsor or sponsor to put on a show to this magnitude. And no Champs. Champs is, all done. And we have these kids, we have hundreds of kids who do tracks or some sporting
To
event.
aspire in that
Yeah.
regard. Yeah.
What happens when we create that dark place?
Well,
Programs will stop. Kids
yeah.
might, who were just probably sports inclined. Tell us about that.
Well,
Let me hear from you.
that has a lot of levels, that has a lot of levels. So I'm not sure how deep the sponsorship goes as it relates to going into the schools, but sports are once you talk about sports, you know that it comes with a certain amount of expense. So I'm talking about kids losing equipment. So think about this situation where you have a child, they're really good in athletics. However, you're not able to buy the spikes or get them to training or get them the necessary things that they need, which a sponsor might have covered. Then that child might miss out on achieving the targets that are set, or just to fulfill their own potential. And I'm going to go up a level where all of the things that the sponsor covered is in place. And if there are few students who are displaying behaviors that you do not support, If you pull your sponsorship, is that fixing the situation?
That's the question.
Yes.
That is
So
the
that's
question.
where I would go with that level. And I'm thinking, you moving your sponsorship is not fixing the
root problem,
situation. And you're pulling your sponsorship because how many students probably participate at champs? Let's say there's 1,000 students that participate at champs, and you have trouble with 1 or 10. So you're going to pull away your sponsorship because of 1 or 10 students, and all the others with talent, with good behavior,
suffer.
will suffer. So like we have to think about these things deeply. And if it's a few persons that, are displaying this sort of behavior, we need to just go find ways, find means of, getting these kids in line. And I'm talking about not punitive ways of, punishing or just disciplining them, but you want positive ways so that they can learn from their mistakes and see exactly how that might impact them in the future so that they have reason to change. So that's how I look on the sponsorship. And, pulling the sponsorship as well, I'm going to go another level up. If they pull their sponsorship, then it is limiting their brand. Because think about boys and girls champs. Think about the support. Think about persons, recruits who are looking for their next top Jamaican athlete to come overseas to participate in their college or university.
I get that, but my problem is not even with their brand and if they choose to limit it. I am looking at the bigger, like the societal context in terms of like the social ills. So if you decide to do that, again, as you mentioned there, absolutely, is that fixing the problem? The answer is no. We're not fixing the problem, but what we're doing, we're creating other problems because these same kids that you could have meaningfully engaged in a sporting activity, they're going to find time to probably engage in something else that might be detrimental to society. And so as corporate Jamaica, you have a social responsibility, right? And that social responsibility, yes, you're exercising that in terms of your sponsorship, but we want to understand that the way in terms of supporting our students, our children, is not to be punitive because that in itself would not fix anything.
For sure.
Because what we want to do is to ensure that our kids can understand. We want to prepare them for the future. Because if you just cancel this youth and make him okay, my gun, boy. Oops, I said the G word. All right. And you decided that, we're not going to support. We need to understand that, we need to support students. And I'm just looking in the comment section here, Empress Shanna. Well done, right there. So absolutely, Empress, and welcome to the voice. Yes, welcome to the Voices in Education. Please hit that subscription button. Please give this live a like also. Let's just share positivity. This is a safe space, and turn your post notification on. Daddy BLK music. Oh, Daddy Black's music. Man not dead, no call him dopey. Right there, so me G. You knock it there, so Papa. Right there, so. Right there, so Daddy. Big up yourself. Big up yourself. Man not dead, no call him dopey. I'm going to pin this one. Man not dead, no call him dopey. Yeah, I'm going to.
The thing is, we all make mistakes, We all make mistakes. But, we always keep to condemn another person. We are always in eager to condemn another person. And sometimes we need to just breeze it a little bit. Yeah, somebody did something wrong. But, the strangest thing, most of these people who were taking the negative and running
Let them
with
a
it.
run with the goal now, in a brother.
Wow, wow. But
Wagonist.
I tell you, we have to just be proud of this young man,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
he did awesomely well. And I'm telling you, love the comment, brother. Keep it coming,
Yeah, keep it
Yes.
coming. Definitely. Big up yourself again, Daddy. Big up yourself, and please hit that subscription button. Give this video a like. This is a safe space, guys, where we share and learn from each other. We voice issues, and it's very safe. So you can hit that subscription button, turn on your post notification. And also this community, every view, like, comment, subscription, you know the thing, will continue to help us to support students. So please don't be afraid to hit that subscription button.
Yeah, man, thanks a lot for all the support. And remember, you can always call in. We'd be happy to hear your voice. For you
Oh,
to share
yes,
your,
for sure. Let me
some-
go to the number. I'm going to get the number right there. It's on
Awesome. So
screen.
numbers on screen. If you want to call, just call in and let us hear your voice. You don't have to agree with everything that we say, but it's good that it's good to hear your perspective, and let us have a discussion, because we don't know it all, and we're just talking about these issues from our individual standpoint.
And based on research too. So I'm going to add that in, because the research tells us that punitive is not good. Not good.
Research informs the discussion.
Yes,
So,
definitely.
tell us if you have experienced any punitive behavior. Tell us if any parent, family member, teacher have ever written you off.
Yes.
Tell us what you did to bounce back.
Yeah, let us hear from
Let
you.
us hear what your goal is, because you might have achieved a goal in something else in life, but you're not necessarily on the track, but you have overcome, and share your story, because you could be influencing somebody else's life in a positive way. So share whether you want to call it or in the chat. We're here we're here to hear you. And as Natasha Lee said earlier, this is a safe space. So, just call in, message, so that we can hear what you are thinking, because we love to hear what you're thinking. Achieve the goal.
Definitely, definitely. We would love to hear from you. So don't be afraid to call that number that you see on screen. We would like to hear from you. This is a safe space. Again, let us hear if you have had any experience where you move from zero to hero, like an Antonio kind of context where, someone did not believe in you. You were punished severely. You bounce back, you fight back, and you say, I'm going to prove you wrong, So I am not that person.
That's what I was thinking. I was wondering, I'm thinking that, I wonder if he has this in the back of his mind.
Look how they do me.
Because of what I did, and they condemned me, but this is my opportunity, this is my stage, and think about it. He went on a bigger stage to prove that, yes, I'm the world best 400 meters male athlete
right now, yeah.
So that's awesome. But something that probably can be aligned to his character and the way that he bounced back. I'm just thinking back about that race when he came around that last curve, and probably, let's say, he was about 50 meters out, and he wasn't leading any at all.
Yeah.
He was probably out of the medal contention, but he pushed on, he pulled through, he pushed himself, he showed resilience, dedication, determination, and he persevered.
Definitely. Again, as Daddy Black's music said, man not dead, no call him dopey. Definitely. And you sometimes, and this is something too that happens sometimes when we see someone down, we beat them down, man. We're ready to say, all right, you're down, me and you, you're gonna stay down. And so again, we need that support. No man is an island, and as I asked earlier, if you have never made a mistake in your entire life, comment in the live chat. I would love to hear from you. Trust me, I have made lots of mistakes, and I have learned so many lessons from those mistakes, because mistakes should teach you. Mistakes should be learning opportunities. And I want you to share that story about John. Johnny coming to school late and the possibility of kicking Johnny out the class. So let's hear that story about John. I think the audience would like to hear the story where we can really think about this story. It's a real life situation, but we're not going to share places and names. So we're using John as the character in the story, but it's something that happened, and so this context is a good way to tell us about what is not fixing the problem, and I guess you can identify along and what is driving a particular behavior and how we can address a particular behavior. So go ahead, Ruriel.
Why I'm sharing this story again? Well, as I will always say, teaching is the greatest learning experience one will have. So if you're able to teach somebody something, then, take up that opportunity, because you might learn something in teaching somebody. So I was in the classroom one of these days, and, my class started, and, I think for about half of my class was already done. A session was complete. Usually my classes are 2 sessions. So one session was complete, and I saw Johnny ambling through my classroom door, and I was like, where is Johnny going at this point in time? He knows when class starts. So he should be coming here at that point in time. And, I was saying based on my experience, and so I said, I'm going to send this boy back where he's coming from, because he shouldn't be walking in here at this point in time, because he knows when class starts. But, something came over me, and I said, you know what? Let's hear what he has to say. Let's find out what is happening with Johnny. And I said, Johnny came over and said, good morning. And I said, hello, Johnny, good morning. So why are you late? And Johnny said, sir, my father is really old, and I'm the only person there to take care of my father. So after doing all that I have to do to get daddy ready and, make sure that daddy is okay, then I left out for school. And that's why he came into my class late. And I was saying, why I would feel so bad to learn that from somebody else, that he was at home taking care of, somebody who is in need, depriving himself of an education just to be a good citizen and a good son. And when he came to school, then he is going to be bashed or, penalized, punished for that. And I was like, I'm happy I didn't send him out of the class. And he came into the class, and I was saying that, at least he has that one session, that opportunity to learn something. But in retrospect, I'm thinking back of that situation, and I'm thinking that, it could have gone differently, and it could have been significantly damaging for him. Think about it. You have done your all to achieve what you want to achieve. Because if he didn't want to come to school, he wouldn't come. And if he's coming to school, it must be a case that there's something about school that he's interested in. Because, if you're late already, why bother to go, right? And he's still turning up, being respectful as well. So I was happy that I made that decision. And I'm thinking, if I had sent him back out of the class, how would he feel as an individual? Like, I've done my all, I've done a good deed, and I came here where I'm supposed to learn something, and the teacher is depriving me of my education. Because that's what I would be doing right there. He might not be able to learn everything that I have taught that particular day, because he would miss out a lot. But if he learned one thing from that class, then it would be a successful class for him. And think about it. if I did that and the next teacher did the same thing, or if he was treated like that for the entire day, then he would lose out on a day of education. And he might miss my class, but he could, learn a lot from the other classes as well. So there are times when students are locked out of the school or sent home because they're late. So, at least he made it to class and he was allowed in, but, it could have gone otherwise.
And you mentioned that, and I'm just going to ask you the question now based on that context, and it's a real life context, just for our viewers and listeners to, kind of understand what we're saying in terms of behavior being purposeful and trying to fix the problem. So I'll ask you the question now. So if, right, you turn Johnny away from your class that day, would that fix the problem?
No, it would.
It would not fix the problem. And that would have been a punitive measure to say, you can't be in my class, go to the office.
And that would be a quick fix, putting a band-aid over the issue, because he's having challenges at home and he still turned up. And I sent him away. I have no clue what is happening with Johnny.
Right. So now we realize that, let us break this down now. The misbehavior, or the so-called bad behavior, the negative behavior, is showing up for class late. All right, viewers and listeners, showing up for class late, right? So we decide that showing up for class late is the behavior, right? And this is why we're saying no, that behavior, showing up at class late, Johnny showing up at class late, is purposeful, meaning there is a need driving that late behavior. So what I am saying to you now is that we need to find out, when we see behaviors, not just Johnny behavior, but your son behavior, your grandchildren, your students' behavior, we need to find out what is driving that behavior. Why is Johnny coming to school late? Or why is, little T in the class and being very disruptive?
Yeah.
Why? Why? What is driving the behavior? So in your case now, right?
Yeah.
What was driving Johnny's behavior?
His home situation.
His dad, right?
Dad, yeah.
The dad was ill and Johnny was the only one who could take care of daddy. So because Johnny, right, has to stay back and take care of daddy, taking on adult responsibilities, Johnny is showing up late. So this is the next question. Johnny is showing up late. That is the need driving the behavior now, because Johnny taking care of the father, right? So you run Johnny out of your class now. Our principal say, well, you show up too much time, you have to go back home. Would that prevent Johnny from showing up next morning late?
No, if that Johnny is a good son that he appears to be, then he's going to take care of daddy before
every morning. So that is it. That is what I am saying to us, as we're here talking and having this conversation. Sometimes your child or teacher tell us you're not behave and you decide to you're going to punish them. Either you're going to take with this or you're going to physically punish them. That is not okay. And let me tell you, physical punishment, no. We need to move away from that. Not okay. And so you decide that you're going to punish that student because this are your child, because teacher tell you say, right? Anna not behave right. Do we have an Anna on the live? Teacher tell you say Anna not behaving, right? And you decide that you're going to punish Anna because, oh, dare you go to school and misbehave, that teacher has a problem with you. But poor Anna might be experienced, might have like might be neurodivergent, might have ADHD, where Anna cannot stay steady and I need to take frequent breaks. And these are really situations that are affecting our kids, our students, right? And in your case, no matter how much run you run out, Johnny, that is not going to change the fact that at home his father is very sick and he's the only one who can take care of his father. So what we do, we need to promise your best as a community, a school community. We can try to help Johnny So either we try to say, all right, why is situation rough enough? We don't really know nobody we can help your father like that at home, But we are gonna ensure, say, we make you go an extra class or we do a little something to ensure that you can catch up, right? Because Johnny are doing best that he can. Johnny is doing the best that he can in the circumstance, and that's the same thing when we decide so we are gonna lock out school quickly because then late. That not change the facts of taxi not run per road or taxi not carrying them to school. But you know what you're doing when you send them home, you turn them out on the street where they can't go do anything when they want. Because sometimes, and it's not like in Jamaica, we're going to phone parents all the time. Oh, your child is coming home. Your child is coming home.
Well, I'm not sure how many times
that is being done. Exactly. And so when parents are already, for example, at work, and who takes care of them?
Yeah, they are left out in the cold, I guess, or left out to the elements. So yeah, it's a tough situation, but we need to just ensure that we are doing the right things. We don't always do the right things, but we want to make sure that we bounce back and correct ourselves as best as possible.
Right. Yes, for an adult, that's I guess sometimes an expectation. And when like in a North American context, I would ask myself, for example, why is that people of color have to be resilient? Why? Like, why everybody else can have privilege, like white privilege, and we have to fight, we have to fight, we have to be resilient. So what I'm saying to my people, Black people, you viewers, listeners, and viewers and listeners, is that let us not create these negative spaces for our kids and our students. Let us give them the best opportunities to succeed, to self-actualize. Let us prepare them for the future. And a big part of this preparation is discipline in schools and in our homes, for sure.
Yeah, school is an extension of home, and I guess home is an extension of school too. Because as you all know, once school is in session, then kids spend most of their day at school. So parents and teachers have to liaison and make sure that whatever the children are getting, that it is something that is worthy for them to get, that, and it's important for them to grow and self-actualize. So the discipline should be a continuation of what happens in either institution, it's the home and the school. But as individual entities or institutions, then the school has to do what it has to do to ensure that the kids get the best out of the system that is in place.
Definitely. And sometimes I don't see that happening, unfortunately, because sometimes we're so focused on discipline where we lose sight of the meaning and the purpose of school and education. And that is an important context there too.
Yes.
Because we're so focused on discipline in quotation and not necessarily the discipline that I'm talking about in the context where discipline should teach and not punish, and we want to prepare students for the future. Sometimes how we view discipline is wrong. And I'm not bashing educators in Jamaica, because I was once there, punitive too. But what I am saying is that now that we see the research and we're hearing about it, and that is why I'm sharing here on this platform, we need to now take this information and apply it to our practice. What I do not like is this belief, or when these statements like, I grow me and do me nothing wrong with it, like, or me not spoil no rather spare no child no picnic. Those are the things now that we need to move away from, right? So we need to, as I said, unlearn certain bad practices and relearn positive. We need to change that mindset. And so here is about, providing that understanding, in terms of how we should be thinking and trying to move forward. We need to do that because trust me, a lot of kids in the Jamaican system go to school and they're undiagnosed and they suffer. And sometimes teachers are not prepared to deal with and that's another conversation, that's another topic. But just to say, sometimes most times, teachers are not prepared to deal with kids with learning challenges, right? And it's also unfair to these students, to these kids, for us to expect what they're not able to produce. And so that is important. So we need to ensure that we're thinking about that in its entirety, right? Because if school is a place of learning, we need to provide those kind of environments that is going to allow that to happen. And sometimes think about some schools, that do not have a ramp for school, for students with probably physical disability. And again, not every disability is visible, right? And so you have some students, we don't have the kind of board, we don't have the kind of facility. With what do we have? I remember, it is mandatory for kids to attend school in Jamaica once they're at a certain age. So what we're calling on the government is, come on, we need to fix this. And the next thing too, you corporate Jamaica, we understand that resource might be lacking. And this is another thing. These big companies, and because of way of, I guess, the school that you attended, you tend to invest in certain schools because these schools are doing well. This is another situation where privilege breeds privilege. How is it there is no equity? How is it that you have schools that might be in a better position? Not saying that they don't need things, they're in a better position than, say, a non-traditional high school. And you're just investing in these schools that already have more resources. And the non-traditional ones who are really wanting resources, you decide that you're not helping. You understand the social implications of not helping students to attain an education where they can become meaningful citizens, where they can contribute to society. When students pass through school without anything and you fail them. And these are some of the things that are causing, social ills in the country in terms of, think about crime and violence. You understand? So let us think about equity as well as it relates to education, and equity as it relates to discipline practices. Because trust me, it happened, you have a teacher pick me when do something wrong. Master, teacher pick me get way, because say a teacher pick me are, oh, I may have pick me, I want doctor pick the man. Before just skip him. But make one little poor people pick me do something wrong. You're ready to suspend them because guess what? The poor somebody not have that wealth and that position, that class in society. That's another conversation.
But let me just add a little voice here to this situation. Going back to Antonio at university.
Sure.
Do you think he would be treated differently if he was a student at a different
school? All right. Based on what I saw in 2022, I believe, that student was from the Green School. I don't know if you know what I'm referring to. And those talks were had in terms of pulling, so probably not. But Antonio for sure is a country youth. I think he's from Petersfield High School. That's in probably Westmoreland there. And so it could be a context where that could have been very different, because I don't know if that kind of, I don't know, with the 2022 one, I don't know if that got so much in terms of criticism. But I remember, I believe the minister of sports, gender and entertainment came out and was saying something about music and influencing and yeah, but the thing is we need to understand that kids are going to be kids. And as you said earlier, that there are certain things that are going to influence their interaction, right? And
Yeah.
as I said, as people, we need to be very honest with ourselves too, because some of you, when you're at party and you hear your top song, you know, you bust a blanca. You know,
And
so
that's
you
true,
hear
yeah.
you, what? Mad, we are mad out. Or, you know, whatever song run in the place right now. And prior year, mad, we are mad out. You just go, you know, you put up your G finger and you're just like a boy, you know. So we need to understand because, all right, some things you can understand in a Jamaican culture, in another culture, it's something different. And so there are certain cultural meanings aligned with certain actions,
Yeah.
you know. So like in North America, you see certain things, you know, that would have happened at Jamaica. So like today, when the races were going on, I was screaming down the entire place. Like when Mr. Daniel and
Back
then
over.
and Antonio, oh my God, I was screaming. And then I was like in my head, Lord Jesus, I wonder if I'm gonna call police or something not going over here. So because that is not something that, you know, they associate in this part of world that we're in. But you know, as a Jamaican, you know, Jamaica when me born and grow up, yes, as a Jamaican, you know, that Jamaicanness is going to come out because me I scream and me I say, yes, run, me boy, run. And you know, that because when I saw him there and I see the strength are going on him, I endure, me say, yes, run, me boy, run. Yes. So you know, that is different. So we need to understand that. And again, we're not glorifying, you know, so-called negative behavior. What we're saying is that there's a how we do it. And sometimes the way we choose to so-called fix a problem is really creating more problems, and we're not fixing the problem, because fixing the problem requires that we address the root cause, what is driving that behavior. And so that is important. Not until we are doing that, we're not helping our students, we're not helping our children. Because punishment, as you know, it tells you that something is serious, and as you said, they give you a little break. For example, if you did run, you know, all right, pick somebody and make up knives in your class, I say, all right, come out of my class, or go on a principal office or whatever. It gives you a little break. It's, you know, but it does not fix the problem. Why is this kid so talkative? You know, what is happening? What is driving the behavior? Is it that the student is not understanding the concept or whatever topic that you're teaching? It's the same thing at home, right? If you have a child that you believe is misbehaving, ask yourself this question. What could be causing, you know, Mary to be behaving like this? Could it be because she's hungry or something make her frustrated, or there's another problem? You know, sometimes, so like sometimes you might see aggressive behavior, and it could be that that child is being bullied at school, or you know, that or the child is withdrawn. You see, you know, you normally have your happy, jovial child at home, and now the child come home, not talk, just silent, or the child is like, I don't want to go to school. Why that behavior? You know?
And yeah, we have to be mindful of these behaviors and try to find the root cause, because you know that's where everything will be revealed, and that's where we can fix it. We fix it from the root and not always just treating what is, you know, being displayed. We have to find out where those behaviors are coming from in order to deal with them, or you know, at least attempt to address them.
So we are winding down just a few more minutes, I guess, before in another, I guess, 10, 15 minutes, we're going to wrap up here. Would love to hear, you can keep the chat going. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Voices in Education. This is a safe space where we share and learn from each other. And so I am asking you, you can comment in the live chat to let me know that you're here. And we would love to give you a big voices in education welcome. Please remember to just like this video. So right now you're here, you're listening. Just close the chat a bit and just press that thumbs up button. Just like right now. Let's see the likes going up. And also the subscription, just hit that subscription button. Please do not leave here this evening without hitting that subscription button. It is very important because we want to continue to expand this platform. We want to continue to support students. So your support in that way will help this space to continue to do that. And so we really want to expand. We want to hear from you too. I am looking now in the chat and I'm seeing trending sports and entertainment. Say nice. Thank you so much. I guess you're enjoying this conversation, TSC. So thank you for sharing there in the live chat. Please don't go away without liking this video, without subscribing. So please, and without sharing this community with somebody, just go and say, guess what? I find this channel, and I really like it over there. Tell them how you feel about it.
Listen, man, come home and bring a friend with you and tell a friend to tell another friend to tell another friend to come here. And, if they're here, they're just going to ask you to like us. So if you didn't like, probably you would not be. So just show us a little bit of support.
Some
Show us how
love.
much you like this conversation. Put a comment in the chat. Call in if that's what you want to do so that we can hear from you one way or another. So
yeah, or just comment in the live chat if you do not want to call in. That is totally okay. And just to remind you of what we're talking about this evening, we're talking about Antonia's 400-meter win there in Budapest, that it teaches us a valuable lesson about discipline. And so just to kind of highlight some of the main points, some of the main points. So one, we need to understand that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. And so we want to try and move away from, punishment, punitive measures to positive approaches. So we want to understand as well that mistakes are learning opportunities. And so with discipline, we should create teachable moments for our students, our children, so that they can learn from their mistakes and become stronger and be prepared for the future. I think I'm saying my 3MT speech here. And so that is important for us in this conversation. So we're relating that now to Antonia's context. So back in 2021, you'll see on screen, he did that G salute at Champs after winning a 200 meters race. And, people were ready to cancel him. And so we're saying that, what if we had canceled Antonia then? We wouldn't see Antonia now, just getting that gold medal, because then people wanted him to be stripped of the gold medal. For example, JCF, I guess, to, check him out, that kind of thing. And we're saying that we want to support our students, our children, so that they can learn from mistakes. We don't want to punish them and cancel them, because imagine that could have been, I don't know. I believe that should have had some form of impact on Antonia then, because, it was, I guess, a very difficult moment, but he was able to persevere. He rised above those circumstances. He bounced back, and look at him now. Just look at him now. Right? So again, what we're saying, some kids, right, they might not be able to rise out of those circumstances when we decide to punish them so severely. And those, definitely will have some detrimental effects. And so we want to understand that. So we have a few more minutes to go before we wrap this thing up, this live up. And I would love to hear from you again. If you're just tuning in, please hit that subscription button. Please bank on it. I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to go back and show you the number that you can phone in. The number should be coming up on your screen right now, where if you'd like to phone in and just to share, you don't necessarily have to share about Antonio's context. You can also share about an experience that you had where you have, experienced punitive discipline or some punishment, or you rise above, or people try to cancel you, say you weren't good enough. We'd love to hear from you. I'm seeing trying to make it, just tuning in. Welcome to the Voices in Education community. Thank you so much for coming over. This is a safe space where we can share and learn together. We're talking about Antonio Watson's win there in Budapest and how that is a teachable moment for us in the context of discipline, because as we wanted to cancel this young man, we wanted to cancel him as opposed to support him. We wanted to punish him. And just look at him now. What if we had punished him so severely where he lost interest, lose focus, and was not able to be in the spotlight this evening? And so what we're saying is that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. So we need to transition. We need to shift that mindset. We need to shift our beliefs in the sense where if we're not punishing kids, if we're not whop, or if we're not suspending, or if we're not, depriving them, then we're not disciplining. And so we need to understand that, it's detrimental. Research says, and if you really reflect on your own practices, if you are administering punitive measures, then you can see some of those detrimental impacts. I would love to hear from you. Let's keep that like button going up. Let's keep that subscriber count going, because I believe these are conversations that we want the world to hear, not just Jamaica, but the world. And oftentimes we are just in this mode where, at this grow miss, so it never do me nothing. We need to move away from that. It is detrimental.
I totally agree with you. And I'm thinking, we highlighted the resilience that was shown by Antonio in this, pursuit of gold. And it's the same sort of resilience that we are trying to push forward on this program as well, because, I am sure when he did that, he went viral with that negative behavior. And we are the sort of person on this platform, we are trying to push positive, we're pushing positiveness forward. And that is why we're quick to jump on this story that he did well this time. And we want to push this guy up there on the pedestal, because not many persons have done this before. And we want to show that, yes, you can fall down, but you need to get up and try again. So if you experience any form of punitive discipline, then try to find it somewhere in you to be resilient and
what I want to say, not to cut you off, because you're making a good point there, but I want to say, as adults, as teachers, parents, we need to be careful how we're pushing down our students or our kids, because not everyone will be able to rise above. And so that is the detrimental effect that punitive measures can have, because we cannot expect that we are going to, push somebody in a corner, push them down in a dark place, and then we are expecting them to be the best when you decide, oh, you're not good enough, you're bad, we don't need you, we don't need this kind of behavior, you should not be getting a medal, you should not be representing our country. And it's the same thing we do with discipline, it's the same thing we do with our kids, our students. We just say, that one I just bad and can't tolerate, and everything is just punitive. We have to be careful how we push them down, because not every one of them will be able to get up.
That's true.
Yeah.
And the ones who get up, they'll remember as well. And that's another part that we haven't touched on.
And not just remember, it has effects, because some people live with trauma to this day.
That's for true. Yeah, that some persons will have the trauma. And the bad thing about it is that if they're not strong enough to break that cycle, then they pass that on to their kids.
Yes.
And
I tell you about the gems, you're always putting out the gem. I like that. And I love that. Shake my hand for that. Let me give you an high five for that. So you see, I like that cycle. And this is what, and I like that. This is a good way to kind of bring this to a close. That cycle. And this is why we are talking and we're sharing based on our experience and our knowledge, research, in the sense where if we don't break that cycle of discouragement, so you say, okay, beating is the thing, bam, bam, it never do me nothing, grow me. But it did something happen to you, right? You experience either you get some wheels, physical, whatever, mentally it might have something on you. Some students get physical punishment and then run away. Some
and
kids.
Everybody is different, so they will react differently to the
yes. So if you don't break that cycle of discouragement, the student sometimes, you break it because they say, you know what? I experienced it. I didn't like it. This is how it made me feel. So you decide that I will never do this to my child. But some people, they are with this philosophy, it grow me, never do me nothing. So me I deal with my people. We need to break that off. We need to break that cycle. We need to move from that punitive cycle to a positive one. We need to break that cycle. We need to break that cycle. Definitely need to break that off. So we're not seeing any comments coming in the chat. Not seeing any. Oh, I'm seeing a message here on WhatsApp. Sorry, just seeing the message because I was anticipating a phone call. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to read this message. Life is like this. We have to work together with young people and talented people when they make small mistakes. Definitely. So I got a message, but I did not see this one. So I am just going to put this message in the live chat. Thank you so much, sender, for sending this. If you're still on the live, you can comment in the live chat. I'm going to place this message as it was sent to me. So I'm just going to put that in the live chat, and I see another comment there coming in. So Ryan, I don't know if you want to get that one.
I'm going to look on this one. It's trying to make it, well, you try to make it, you're here and you're commenting, and we love that you're commenting. I remember the G salute, but he meant no harm as he was young. He's more mature now. At the time, people condemned him and called for the police to investigate him. It was both and oral
who encouraged
him. So I guess it's you see both
and oral Tracy.
And that's a good point. That
yes.
Oral Tracy was always someone who, to be honest, when Oral Tracy presented this case on his program, it showed great thought and analysis. And he viewed this from another perspective. And that's what, opened the eyes of a lot of people as it relates to this case. So I'm really happy that you mentioned that, trying to make it. So this is an awesome, awesome comment that made it. And we love this one. We have to support these guys when they're young, when we all make mistakes. We all made mistakes. We're still making mistakes. And I'm going to share this little thing with you too. Many of us are saying that when we were younger, social media wasn't as prevalent as it is
That's true.
now. So a lot of us that are quick to condemn, as you rightly said, if social media was around when we were his age, we probably would be making the rounds and making some viral videos. So thank you so much for that comment right there. It's a really, really good
Yeah,
comment,
definitely.
and I totally agree with you.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Usain Bolt came out. Yes, I believe he's at Glen Mills. Then Glen Mills is
Is his
coach.
so
Yeah,
probably that was
but
even an
even probably
influence as well.
yeah, but maybe before. But yeah, Bolt came out, and for sure I remembered Oral Tracy. So you can tag Oral Tracy on this one, guys. He came out and supported this young man and just pointed out, how we're just some hypocrites, man. And not just that, but just understanding that we need to just move away. We need to move away from this kind of punitive where we just want to cancel and dismiss someone. We don't give them any opportunities to learn.
Or to redeem themselves.
Definitely, definitely. I am not seeing any more comments yet. I'm hoping that the like is going up and that the subscription is going up. Please don't be afraid to hit that subscription button. We're pretty much at the end of this program, and you have been very diligent and you have been here with us and you have been listening. And I know a lot of silent supporters. I need to pin trying to make it comment.
Yeah, a lot of silent supporters are here, and you don't. We're not forcing anyone
To
to
talk.
talk. If you're in agreement or in support of what we're saying, you can do the silent stuff as well. That will contribute to the advancement of this platform, like by
Liking.
liking and subscribing, so you can hear more positive content going forward. And we need that sort of support for positiveness, because often the things that go viral
Viral. Yeah.
are the negative stuff. And when he did whatever he did back in the past, he was condemned, he went viral, and now he's gone viral for a positive thing. And we want to just laud him and continue to support him on his positive path that he's started on. And whatever he's doing is working now because he's reaping the rewards of his hard work.
Definitely. I'm seeing Anne Marie. Thanks for still being here, Anne Marie.
Big up, Anne-Marie.
Definitely, definitely. And so again, we thank you so much for coming over. Thank you so much for tuning into this conversation. And I cannot emphasize how important it is for us to remember that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish. Punitive, dismiss it. Positive, believe it. And that's definitely what we want you to do. It's not going to be a one-day fix, but let us at least try to reflect on our practices as it relates to discipline. Let us try to move away. Let us try to move away from that negative, that punitive style of disciplining, to move to where we try to understand what needs are driving behavior, the best way we can support our students, our kids, so that they can be prepared for the future, so that they are able to reap, success. They can become successful. So we need to do that. So I am hoping that you were able to just go ahead. So I'm just giving you the opportunity now to just like this video right now and hit that subscription button. So just like, you can close the chat, like the video, hit that subscription button. I know that you might not have yet subscribed, so I'm just kindly asking you to hit that subscription button right now. Can we take it to 800? We're 7 away from 800 subscribers, it looks like. So can we take it? Let's do this. Let's do this evening. Can we make it to 800? Also, I just want to share some other things that we do on this channel as well. We have French Fridays. You do not need to know French to come. So it's just an exciting way of learning French via Kahoot game. So if you are interested in that, you don't need to know French. You have kids around that are interested in it, persons doing French, that is totally okay. Again, it's a safe space. So we do that every Friday. So if you hit the subscription button and turn on your post notification, you will definitely get that opportunity to come on over. You'll see when we go live. We also have Spanish Saturdays. And so every Saturday we have, again, a very edutainment where we learn Spanish. And right now we have a little, what would you say now, a little draw going on for French Fridays and Spanish Saturdays. So once you enter the challenge, so once you play the Kahoot game, your name will be entered in a draw to win a cash prize of 100 Canadian dollars, or the receiving equivalent in whatever currency you're receiving that in. And so just come on over tomorrow. Come on over on Saturday. Come, it's a safe space. Just see what it's like. Tomorrow, I plan to go live, but due to the races, it's going to probably be after the race because tomorrow is a packed evening. So we'll have French Friday tomorrow. And I also want to talk about CXC results. I know that CAPE results are being released today, started 6 p.m. And then the CSEC results will start at midnight, probably Jamaica time, or 11 p.m. Jamaica time there-ish. And so we want to just educate our viewers and listeners tomorrow about some questions there on CXC website, but we want to share that to you and to just share based on our experiences. Some things that, for example, if your name or a student name is spelled incorrectly, or if you're not seeing a grade and you want your paper reviewed, we're just going to share with you, break it down, what that means, what you can do, how you do that.
Just come on talk to us.
Yes, so it's good for you to subscribe and hit that bell so your post notification is turned on. I'm just going to check to see.
I'm going to just deal with the live chat now. Anne-Marie Brown-Walters will say that you're welcome. Yes, Anne-Marie, it's always good to have you here. You're a breath of fresh air for us and a long-standing supporter of this platform. And trying to make it welcome to our family.
Woo!
We feel so good to have you. Say
definitely
that. You just like and subscribe. And we wanted to put that notification on as well because we know that you're going to be an integral part of us going forward. And what I'm going to say as well to all the persons who have subscribed,
thank you.
A big thank you to you. And we want you to just keep coming on and supporting this channel so that we can continue with our positive vibe. And we are only positive because you are here to support us. You are the wings. We need our wings.
Okay. And we have other content on this space. So, loving education is a good one. You can listen to that. We have about inclusive education. We have mothers in education. You can explore the content that is on this space as well. And also we would love to hear from you. If you have a story or an experience that you want to share, and we have a program that is going to come on soon you'll see the intro. I don't want to just I want it to just go very well in terms of where you can call in and share. We have that program coming up for you soon. But you can call in and share if you want to remain anonymous. So if you don't want people to know who you are, we can do that. Whatever makes you comfortable. I don't usually give people questions. So if you have something that you'd like to share, a story, it could be, it does not necessarily be education specific, because everything is a learning moment. So we learn from our, yes, so we learn from our experiences. So if you would like to share, you can send me a message on that WhatsApp number that you see on screen, if that is the easiest way for you. You can also send me an email at thevoicesinEducation@gmail.com. I am going to put that in the chat as well. thevoicesinEducation@gmail.com. We have pages on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook would probably be the most active, but we're pretty much here on YouTube trying to build this platform, trying to build this following. So again, I'm just checking to see if we're at that 800. Can we make it to 800 subscribers this evening? And we're at 7:55 and I'm seeing 18 likes. So can we make it to 30 likes and 800 subscribers? I don't think that is too much, but that is something that you can do if you believe you want to just verify in terms of checking out our platform first before you support us. That is totally okay as well. We really appreciate you coming over here. And again, we want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming over and being a part of this conversation. We really appreciate you being here this evening and just sharing about, the lessons as it relates to discipline and, what we can take away from Antonia's win there in Budapest. And somebody said Budapest. And so thank you so much for coming over. Thank you so much for being a part of this space. And let us know before you go, if you'd like, you can share in the live chat something that you're taking away from this conversation this evening.
That's true. And share what you think we can do to improve this
Space.
because we don't know it all, and we learn to ask the questions before making certain decisions. So if anything that you think is meaningful to us to help us to grow this channel, we'll be really appreciative of that. And
or if you have a topic you'd like us to talk about, you can share as well.
And in the words of Dada Black music,
okay,
we
yes.
need to just remember, based on Antonio Watson's situation, that
one not dead, no call him Duffy. It's a man not dead, no call him Duffy.
All right, man not dead, no call him Duffy. All right.
Definitely. So let us not try to cancel people. Let us try to support each other. Let us try to help our students because they're growing, they don't have it all together. As adults, we don't have it all together. So can you imagine the support that they need? And so we need to just remember that discipline was meant to teach, not to punish, all right? So punitive, dismiss it. Positive, believe it. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate the support this evening. Bless up, stay tuned. Let us hit that like button. Let us hit that subscription button. So right now,
notification as well. So when we're on and when you can join us in this safe space and just share what you want to share with us. We look forward to hearing from you in the near future.
Definitely. So this is Natasha Lee and
I'm Maria.
And we're signing out and we'll see you in the next live. So right now we're just going to play some music. And again, big congratulations to Antonio Watson on this magnificent
Momentous.
achievement. Yeah,
Yes.
momentous occasion. I
Yes.
will say August occasion.
Yeah, August occasion. Yeah,
On
that's
this
awesome.
August occasion. So we're going to play some music and we'll just sign out after. Again, thank you so much for making it Voices in Education. I'm just looking at Anne Marie's comment here. Everyone deserves a second chance. Definitely, Anne Marie. So that is one to pin there. So that is something that you're taking away from this conversation. So thank you so much for sharing that, Anne Marie. Everyone deserves a second chance. That's indeed awesome. That's some awesomeness. So we're going to play the music. You can share your takeaway from this conversation. And again, thank you so much for making it the Voices in Education. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Every subscription will help Voices in Education to continue to support students. So please do that. And remember, you can bank on it. Yes, you can put 1 million subscribers on it because your investment, unlike some other places that will trouble your money, your investment is safe with Voices in Education. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next live. So right now, it's just some music until we sign out. All right, stay tuned. Bless up, have a good evening, and we'll talk soon. Blessings, everyone.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that you can listen to the different voices in education. Stay tuned.